5 reasons not to go on TRT. It's like, how stupid can people be?
Welcome to this channel. I am Dr. Steven Devos, the lifting dermatologist, and this is my partner Danny Bossa. If you want to learn more about the most cutting-edge science-based information in the world of hormone optimization, please like and subscribe. I also invite you to join my other YouTube channel, The Lifting Dermatologist. The link you can find in the description of this video. Welcome to the video, everyone. Today, back on the channel TRT and hormone optimization with Danny Bossa and myself, Dr. Steven Devos. Welcome, Danny.
Thanks, Steven. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Recently, under one of our videos in the comment section, someone posted an article from the website nattyornot.com. And that was about 5 reasons not to go on TRT. And today, Danny and myself wanted to talk about those points. Okay, so Danny, let's start with number 1. The euphoria from TRT is temporary.
Yeah, so again, guys, this site, nattyornot.com, they had an article, 5 reasons not to go on TRT, which Steven sent to me. There's 5 points. The first one being the euphoria from TRT is temporary. And before I even get into that first point, the claims that they're making leading up to these 5 points is, you know, when you're on TRT, you think that women can sense you're in the process of transforming into a real alpha, and this renders them more willing to send you nudes while their beta boyfriends are cleaning the car right after vacuuming the apartment. They want you and nobody else because you are the commander, the leader. They yearn to donate your ultra masculine genes to a new generation. You will feel ecstatic and sensational in every way, etc., etc. So this is what they believe people think when they're getting on testosterone replacement therapy. So that the first one is that the euphoria, which is a pretty big word, from TRT is temporary. It's basically saying you think you'll have more energy and a killer mindset and nothing will be able to stop you and you're going to be a straight up monster. Unfortunately, the novelty effect wears off. Eventually, your thriving process plateaus and you return to the baseline. If you think that men with optimal testosterone levels feel great the whole time, you'd be wrong. They experience down periods and depression too. They are still subject to the side effects of life. The feeling of awesomeness caused by TRT goes away sooner than you think. The euphoria from TRT is temporary. First of all, there's no euphoria, okay? This isn't like shooting up with heroin. If you give yourself your weekly or bi-weekly shot, it's like, oh yeah, the testosterone's going through my veins, I can feel it. No, it's not that at all, okay? For me, it's the equivalent of, you know, you take your vitamins in the morning, you pop your vitamin and you go to work and you go through your regular stuff, like you're not feeling those vitamins going through you and you're like, oh yeah, I feel that vitamin D right now. You just don't, okay? There's no euphoria happening there of any kind, number 1. Do the effects wear off? Here's what happens with people, at least in my experience, and I can say this probably for tons of people I've spoken to. Before they got on TRT, they felt like crap for a number of reasons. They got on TRT and eventually when those levels were up and the testosterone really started to have an effect, they felt a lot better. So when you're at that point where you're finally starting to feel a lot better, it's like, wow, this is great, man. I'm sleeping better and my brain's more focused and I feel more like I get a little bit more motivation. I get more drive. I got more energy. This is fantastic. It's not really a question of motivation, of euphoria. It's a question of feeling like the way you would have hoped you would have felt, you know, had you not been on TRT. This should be normal. And yes, at one point, once you felt that way for a while, that now becomes your new normal. So yeah, I've been there now for quite some time, and that's my normal. That I wake up and yeah, I slept well, and I've got good energy, and my brain's working well, and my libido's great, and I've got drive, and I got motivation, I got ambition, I got all these things going for me. That's normal to me now. Okay, so I'm not gonna say, oh well, I'm not feeling a high. I mean, well, how much higher do you want to go? You have what you would have liked to have had naturally, but didn't, and you needed something to help you out in that department, and now that's your new normal. So to say that it wears off, if you're going to constantly need some new high, I mean, TRT is not going to do this for you at all. Okay, and this new normal for me has not worn off whatsoever. If anything, it's improved over time. So that's just a completely bogus thing to say, I think. Steven, you want to add something to that, or?
Yeah, same thing here. I never really experienced a big change in mindset or euphoria. The feeling of getting better just happened very gradually in me. So I got used to it, and yeah, that's it really.
That
There's
was it.
nothing that really wore off. So completely agree. So then
The,
number
the
two,
biggest thing, really, really quick, Steve, before you jump on number two, the biggest improvement that I felt, aside from the obvious, libido or whatever else, was just the drive and motivation and energy and focus to get stuff done. Before TRT, my levels were so low that I had a hard time getting out of bed. I'd wake up in the morning, I was exhausted. I didn't really want to get out of bed. I didn't really want to do anything. I would think of what I had to do in that day, and everything was so overwhelming. And that has really, really, really helped in that department big time. So, and that has not, it's been going on almost 5 years. That has not worn off like in the slightest, and I don't expect it to.
number two, the establishment promotes TRT.
Yep. So the claims are that ultimately TRT is a business selling a product. There's an incentive to give a low T diagnosis. If TRT was the hidden solution to the war against men, why is it promoted so heavily by the establishment? I thought they hated us. Are you telling me now that they want to help us? There's a lot of different ways to do TRT, guys. If you suspected that maybe you had low testosterone and you heard an ad from some low T clinic and you went there and they say, you're going to pay X amount of dollars a month and we're going to send you your meds and do your labs and blah, 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 and on and on and on. Some of you could be potentially really getting screwed by the establishment. There's a lot of low T type clinics out there that really want to take advantage of some of the stuff that men are going through and make sure that they dish out as many dollars as possible. I won't name any names directly, but there is one person that I went kind of a war on just this past week that did a podcast online, who's, again, name I won't mention, charges about $4,000 to $5,000 a year for men for TRT, which I think is borderline criminal. And there's other people that pay, the equivalent of a car payment a month to be followed by this doctor, or to be followed by a doctor. On the other side of the coin, you can get a guy like me. I go to my doctor. I've got low testosterone. We've measured it. We figured out my dose. He prescribes me my testosterone. I get a vial. The vial with my insurance costs me about $18. Okay, so my testosterone now costs me about $18 a month. That's equivalent to a couple of Starbucks coffees a month. Like, the cost that they are. I buy my needles online. There's no business that's making money off me for TRT. Okay, there's ways to do this intelligently, guys. There's no reason to be going labs after labs after lab after labs and having all this stuff at clinics prescribing you Deca-Durabol and Nandrolone, aromatase inhibitors and HCG if you don't need to be fertile. And there's just no need. There's no need to be paying some extraordinary monthly fee. There's plenty of doctors in our group that you can just go see one time, maybe follow up after, and that's it. They're not making astronomical money off them. If there's any company out there that's charging you thousands and thousands of dollars a year, no, that's to be avoided. And personally, I don't think the establishment does promote TRT. I think the establishment is actually very much against TRT. And the reason being is that if all men that had low testosterone were on TRT and had healthy levels of testosterone, they would be avoiding all of the health issues that they might have down the road had they had low T. And that's when the pharmaceutical companies could get you with all the anti-diabetes medication and on and on and on and on. That's where they make money. So I think that they're personally against guys getting healthy. They want us to stay sick because they'll make money off us after. I'm on TRT right now to prevent that from occurring, and I hope you are too. So I think number two is personally nonsense. Stephen, what do you got to say on that?
Yeah, sure thing. Here in Belgium, and I think even in Europe, it's very hard to find a testosterone clinic or a doctor that will prescribe you TRT. So I guess that number two, the establishment promotes TRT, is completely wrong indeed. So medicine makes much more money of medicine as curing diseases with lots of medicine, operations, medication, and so on. So TRT.
I might also add, Stephen, just to say that there's a lot of areas in the world where testosterone is completely legal. A lot of people don't even go to see a doctor. They just self-medicate because it's legal to have in their country, and that's it. It's really in the areas like, the US and whatnot, where it's a criminalized controlled substance that you got to go through the doctor or go through whatever. So that's sometimes where they can take advantage.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, number 3 on that list. The statement was, quitting TRT is almost impossible. You get dependent on it. You're an addict.
Oh, I'm an addict.
I guess you can be addicted to feeling great, to feeling more healthy, to having more libido, more energy to work out, etc. So I think maybe it's something, there's something there of truth in it. You can get addicted to being healthy, isn't it?
Yeah, I see stuff like this, Stephen, online, and it's like, how stupid can people be? I don't get how stupid people
just want to spread the negative connotation to it.
Yeah. They're just stupid. It's like, you're an addict. So what? So people with diabetes that have to take insulin, they have an addiction? Exactly. Yeah, because if they stop the insulin, they're going to have a hard time. Well, yeah, that's their freaking medication. That's the only thing keeping them from like being sick is their insulin. If you've got a deficiency in test and you got all this thing going on, you know what burns my ass is like any little thing that could be possibly wrong with me, right? I got a pain, I've got a cough, I've got a rash, I've got whatever the thing is. You go to the doctor and they're going to prescribe you medication, right? Nobody's going to say anything. Oh, you got a cortisone cream, or you got an inhaler, or you got some antibiotics. Nobody says nothing. But then if you've got a bunch of issues, the doctor says, oh, these issues are actually due to low testosterone. I'm going to prescribe you some testosterone to fix. Suddenly, the whole world just loses their shit. It's crazy. It's crazy. I was reading this website, and it was like literally burning my ass. Yeah. Quitting is almost impossible. You're dependent. You're an addict. So imagine some newbie who's like, he's got all the symptoms of low T, winds up on this retarded website and reads this. He's going to say, oh, man, I don't want to be an addict. I'm against drugs. I don't want to be dependent on anything. And quitting is impossible. Oh, no, I'm not going to do this. No, I'm not. I'm just going to stay my pathetic self that I can't make love to my wife and I can't get out of bed in the morning and I can't finish a thought in my head. Much better. And I'm getting fat. And because I don't want to be, it's stupid. Whoever wrote this thing is stupid. You should be ashamed of yourself. Okay. So the claims are, the actual practical reality is that most TRT addicts never quit completely. The dark times that arise after you stop injecting are difficult to overcome. Your body is no longer producing testosterone, hence you feel lethargic. You are no longer the bad boy slayer from before. Can your psyche handle this detransformation into a loser? In the end, the TRT machos become users who need a drug to get high. You know what those people are called? Junkies. Jesus.
Yeah, well, he basically said that that you're a loser if your TRT is low, if your testosterone is low before the treatment. So you just get back to that state.
Just think of any of you that have a family member, a friend, whatever, that's on some kind of a medication that they have to take every month for a reason. Okay, whatever the medication, whatever the issue, whatever the sickness, take that medication away from them. And what's going to happen? The dark times that arise after you stop taking your medication, you have to overcome, and your body, blah, blah, and you feel lethargic and you don't feel like before. You took your medication away. Of course it's going to happen. It's the same thing with this. You're replacing your natural levels of testosterone, right? So your body doesn't need to make any. It's like, okay, well, there's some coming in. I'm done making it. If you take that away, it's going to take a while for your body to wake up. Is your body ever going to make the same amount you're making on TRT? No, probably not. So why do you have to get off? If it's something that you need, that you had a demonstrable need for, and you take this, and now those issues are now gone, well, you figured out your problem. Just like, oh, I've got issues with insulin. Oh, I take insulin. Okay, that was your issue. Oh, you've got a B12 deficiency. Take B12. Oh, that was an issue. You got a vitamin D deficiency. You got whatever the thing is. Take what you need to fix your symptoms so that you're healthy, and that's it. You're not a junkie just as much as someone taking insulin every month. It's just stupid. I swear I hear misinformation like this and it just pisses me off. TRT machos and so on and so forth. You know how many people I know on TRT? Some of them are the most quietest, most docile, and they're loaded up on 200 milligrams of testosterone a week, it changes nothing. If you guys think that I'm like the way that I am,
you're
because
the
of TRT,
macho, Danny. You're the TRT macho.
Yeah, I'm not like no hot-blooded Italian. I was a hot-blooded Italian before TRT. Trust me, you can ask anybody. Okay, but I was miserable and tired and whatever. You know, I was still kind of outspoken, but whatever. Let's go on to number 4.
Next point: hair loss and infertility. So the negative effects of TRT on hair loss and fertility.
Okay. You know how many people, Stephen, have said, well, look at Danny and Stephen, and they got no hair.
Yeah.
The testosterone did it.
I haven't gotten any hair since I was 25. So that was 20 years before I got on TRT. Thank you.
Yeah. And I could show you pictures of me prior to TRT, full head of hair, okay? But I had a bald spot over here. So it's like I had hair here, but it was kind of thinning. And I had like a baldish spot over here. And then I had thick hair here and thick hair here. And it was just looking silly. And this is before the TRT. And I said, well, I'm just going to cut it short. So I started cutting it shorter, And really, I did this. You know why? My wife likes it. And she's the only one I need to make happy. I don't need to make any people happy, just my wife. Because she sleeps with me every night. But that's why I do this. I can grow it out. You can see I've got hair. Okay, but it's not the world. Anyways, if you're going to be worrying about hair loss and worrying about fertility, guys in their early 20s or teenagers are not on TRT. Typically, teenagers have crazy amounts of testosterone. They're not on TRT, okay? And they've got all the hair of the world and they're fertile or whatever. Typically, guys that get on TRT, they're in their 30s, they're getting, especially 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond, maybe starting in their 30s, late 30s, approaching 40, okay? Those are the guys typically that have already had kids, all right? Those are the guys that, you know, the 40, their hair may already be thinning. So to say, well, I'm going to start worrying about my hair loss or worrying about fertility. Well, if you're 40 years old and you've already had kids, well, who cares? If you still want to have some more kids, well, I can get on TRT and maybe take some HCG along with it and remain fertile in the meantime till I don't need to be fertile and get rid of the HCG and at least feel good and be healthy and not deal with all these issues, you know? And then the hair loss, that's going to happen anyway, guys. If you're losing your hair before you're going to lose it anyway. If you had a full head of hair and you're on TRT, your hair's not going to fall out. Okay. So if you're saying I have all these issues, but I'm not going to get on TRT because I don't want to lose my hair or be infertile. There's a lot of guys out there that are on jacked up doses of testosterone, getting their wives and girlfriends pregnant without any other help. So don't just think that you're going to get on some little dose of TRT and suddenly you're completely fertile, infertile. Doesn't happen. So don't use it as a reason. Stephen, anything to add to that one?
No, I completely agree. I don't care about kids anymore. And the hair was gone long before the TRT. And even if you care about getting your wife pregnant or keeping your hair, if you aren't getting male pattern baldness now, you probably won't get it on TRT either. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yep.
So number 5, and I do this especially to make the thumbnail, Danny. 5, okay. You're not doing it for health, technically. So in the article, the man says, if TRT wouldn't come with muscle gains, it would be far less appealing to the crowd. So he says we only do it for muscle. So what about that?
If somebody was to tell me prior to starting TRT, Mr. Bossa, we've analyzed all your symptoms. Okay, so you've got brain fog. You don't want to get out in the morning. You got no drive. You got no motivation. You've got no focus. Your libido is in the tank. You've got erectile dysfunction. You know, whatever else is there. I tell you what, we've got a pill that you can take. And if you take that pill, all of those issues are going to be gone. I'd be, doc, where do I sign? Okay. Had he not brought up muscle, fat loss, anything aesthetic, I would have taken those. I would have taken 2 of those a day. Maybe I would have taken 10 of those a day. Okay. Because that was pretty much the primary reason why I got on TRT was for that. Does it help with muscle gain? If you've got tanked levels of testosterone and you're eating really, really well and you're going to the gym and training, it's going to impede your gains. It will. You need healthy levels of testosterone to really see some kind of gains. So obviously, if you've gotten to a point of having almost none like me, and then you get healthy levels of it, of course it's going to help you in the gym. Obviously, you've got healthy levels of testosterone. Had you had healthy levels naturally, you would have had the same results in the gym. Has it helped me in the gym being on TRT? Yeah. Do I look like Steven? No. Okay. And I'm on a fairly high dose of testosterone. Okay. It's not turned me into some kind of a bodybuilder. I don't eat nearly enough. I train a couple times a week in the garage. If you think that I thought I'm going to get on TRT and I'm going to look like an Instagram model, like, no, I wanted to get on primarily for all those other issues I was having. And if it would help a little bit with being able to retain some muscle, because before I couldn't retain any, great. If it would help by trying to stay a little leaner than usual, because I sure had a lot more fat on me prior to TRT, especially around the chest area. That was like out of control. Yes, that helped. But for me to get like to some like, steroid looking guy, I got to take a lot of stuff and I got to eat a lot of food. It's a lot of training, it's a lot of dedication. TRT is not going to do this. Stephen, what's your angle on that one?
Yeah, well, I worked out for many years, over 25 years, till 2016, when I felt my testosterone was low. 2016, the beginning of 2017. And by June 2017, that was the moment I got on TRT, first the gels, and afterwards on the transcrotal testosterone cream. And I must say that it really helped me out, getting more muscle. But I was already training 3 times a week for an hour and a half for over 2 decades. But I'm going to try to share the screen. I'm going to show you guys the comparison between 2016 before TRT and 2018, 1 year after the transcrotal testosterone cream, with the same amount of training. So I got more muscular, but that's not the basic reason I did it, because there are much more benefits to it, especially feeling less tired, more energetic, having a higher libido. It's much more important than those muscles on me, really. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's my take on it, Danny.
Okay, so the claims were number 5, and I don't think I read it. The claims were the primary reason to go on TRT is not to have optimal testosterone levels. It's about the high and the muscle mass. If TRT didn't come with muscle gains, it would be far less appealing to the crowd. I speak from experience. For me, the only motivation to inject would be to get swole. Without the muscle gains and the admiration that they produce, the motivation to give so much to merely have more energy is basically invisible. I am certain that many of you share the same view. This is a guy that should be on roids. This is not a guy that should be on TRT for health. This is a guy that just, I want to shoot up some testosterone, a lot of it, to get big. I'm doing it to avoid health issues down the road. I'm going to avoid any chance of obesity. I'm going to avoid any chance of diabetes. I'm going to significantly cut down my risk of cardiovascular disease, of osteoporosis, of Alzheimer's, and on and on and on and on. I won't have to deal with that stuff, hopefully, because I'm protecting myself now. All right. So that's primarily why I'm doing it. The issues I had before, if I gain a little touch of muscle, hey, that's just a bonus. All right. If I really wanted to get swole, I'd be jacking myself up with huge amounts of steroids, which I'm not right now. So, guys, those of you that really are considering getting on testosterone replacement therapy, or at the very least, have had the symptoms of low T, and you're like, maybe it's I'm low on testosterone, or maybe it's a deficiency, or maybe it's my thyroid, or maybe it's some kind of gut imbalance, or maybe it's whatever else. Get that stuff checked out. But if everything points to the fact that you do measurably have low testosterone, your doctor says, well, let's try it out. Don't worry about nonsense like this that you see online, because that's what it is. It's nonsense. Okay, get yourself feeling good. I hate when people are walking around miserable with all these health issues. I don't want anyone to be like that. I want you guys to be feeling good. That's all I got to say on the subject.
Okay, Danny. Thanks so much for covering this article.